This video is brought to you by Greenman Gaming. Click the link below to see some incredible deals on some incredible games.
Oh, you died.
These are referred to as filter points. It's where obviously the players are filtered out on whether or not they're worthy or not of conquering the rest of the game. At least that's the way I see them, and I wanted to talk about some of my favorite filter points in games that I've played. Moments that have actually made me quit the game before coming back to it, and even some pretty infamous ones. You already know I'm going to be talking about the Resident Evil 4 Water Room, but the first one I want to talk about is Nebula G3 in Ratchet & Clank 1. I'm not talking about the 2016 remake Nebula G433, whatever the fucking numbers, because that is a walk in the park. It's easy. There's nothing to it. That whole game's easy. That game, I don't like Ratchet & Clank 2016. The original Ratchet & Clank, on the other hand, is my favorite Ratchet & Clank in the series. And when I was a kid, I thought it was easy. You know, you could go around hitting enemies with a wrench. You didn't actually need to use your weapons that much. They were kind of just designed around melee combat a lot of the time. Very easy to take down. That is until you get to Nebula G34. And let me tell you, it really tests you. The difficulty ramps up a hell of a lot. There are two big difficulty ramps in Ratchet & Clank, the original game. There's Ultanis, the Thunder Lightning area, but I don't think it's as big as a difficulty spike as this area, because holy shit, this area is hard. First of all, we have the main path, which takes you through a bunch of different test areas. There are these frog enemies, which you have to use the Pyrocitor to take down. It teaches you pretty quick that you cannot defeat these enemies the normal way you've been fighting the other ones, with just smacking them with your wrench, because they swarm you extremely quick, and their wind-up attack is also incredibly quick, so you can die very fast. And don't get me started on the horrifying scorpion crab looking creatures. These things haunted my dreams as a kid, and yeah, they teach you to use weapons here, because as soon as you hit one of these guys, they instantly snap back. Like, you can avoid this if you're good enough at the game, but chances are you won't be, and you will be punished for even attempting to melee these enemies, pushing the player to use weapons. And there are multiple occasions where you have to fight multiple of them at once with a bunch of frogs, and it's pretty tough. There's also some pretty tough platforming challenges in here. Oh, and it also ends with a giant version of one of those crab scorpion creatures. There's a skill point for beating this thing with just your wrench, by the way. I've platinumed Ratchet & Clank 1. I have actually done that myself, and pretty nightmarish, I can't lie. The difficulty doesn't end there though. There's two more paths you can take, one of them taking you to a Blarg warship. Now, this is a very small area, but it is probably one of the few areas that traumatized many kids back in the early 2000s, because as soon as you get to the end of it, you have to leave it as it self-destructs. So there's a timer ticking down constantly as you have to run through the area. Oh, and by the way, they spawn those fucking scorpion crab enemies to attack you while you're doing so. So if that isn't tense enough, then there you go. Honorable mention goes to the flooding section in Blackwater City. That took me so many tries as a kid, and I think that filtered out a lot of players too. But yeah, Ratchet & Clank it's a tough game, and I can imagine a lot of people quit at this point, because I know I did as a kid back in the day. I know I did. The next area I want to talk about is the Water Room in Resident Evil 4. You already know why this is on here. I mean, this is literally the adaptive difficulty room. You can actually make it easier for yourself if you play like an idiot, right? So if you didn't already know, Resident Evil 4 has this background difficulty slider called adaptive difficulty, which kind of tracks how you play, slightly adjusting the difficulty in the background, depending if you're messing up quick time events, or you're killing enemies successfully, or you're taking damage, all that stuff. And if you've been playing well up to this point, the amount of enemies that spawn in here is quite significant. And there is actually comparisons you can see of the different difficulties in this room, and even on the lowest one it's still tough. You get bombarded by enemies down these thin pathways, and it feels like it's just never ending. And you have Ashley with you, so you also need to look out for her, whilst also dealing with almost every single fucking Ganado cultist trying to fucking rim Leon. It's hellish. It's pretty awful. It's a horrible room. I mean, I do love it, but I do get why a lot of people quit here. It's tough. It's really tough, and it's the same in the remake. They didn't change it much in the remake, actually. It's just as tough, and it's just as tense. Although I would say it's probably harder in the original a bit more, but I think that's just because the remake is overall a easier game in my opinion, but I don't know. What makes this area worse though is the bit where you have to defend Ashley as she tries to lower a bridge for you. Again, it's tough as nails. You need to look out for Ganado trying to grab her, whilst also Ganado are trying to grab you down below. It's hellish. It's horrible. It's tough. And I understand why people quit here, but if you did quit here, you should go back to the game because Resident Evil 4 is absolutely incredible and you are missing out. Just know if you keep dying, it will get easier eventually. The next area, or the next thing I want to talk about is the Marauder from Doom Eternal. Now, this one enemy made or broke Doom Eternal for a lot of people. There were a lot of people who just disregarded Doom Eternal and just straight up just said they hated it because of the Marauder. I remember how controversial it was when the game first released, and I'm gonna say it. If you don't like the Marauder, that's just the skill issue. Genuinely, that's just the skill issue. Like, it literally teaches you. There's a fucking tutorial pop up just before you fight it on how to take it on, and they're fun to fight. They're tough to fight, they're extremely aggressive, and they kind of turn the game's mechanics upside down on the head. Like, you need to play more defensively against the Marauder. You can play offensively if you're extremely skilled and understand every single mechanic, like being able to stagger the fucker with a grenade to reset the stun animation to prolong it even more. Like, there are people who can obliterate a Marauder within seconds, and that's why I think they're well designed. They reward skilled players who pay attention, because yeah, the Marauder, it does not back down. It's on your ass as soon as one spawns in. It runs towards you, it fires projectiles. If you shoot at it without its eyes flashing green, it summons a dog to punish you, which is another enemy that is also extremely aggressive and just charges towards you, making a beeline straight towards you. It's terrifying. And they make you fight two in the DLC, and don't get me started on the buffed Marauder in the Blood Swamps. That shit was tougher than the two Marauders, I'm gonna be honest. It was hard, but I loved the Marauder, and it is probably the best example here of a filter. Like, a lot of people do not like the Marauder or just quit Doom Eternal because of this thing, and I'm sorry to say it's just the skill issue. I sound like such a prick, but it is. I'm sorry. These are amazing enemies. Doom Eternal's so good, man. I love Doom Eternal. It is so good. Speaking of good, the next game I want to talk about is Devil May Cry 3. And yeah, if you played Devil May Cry 3, you already know what it is. It's Cerberus, a literal gatekeeper from keeping you from playing the rest of the game, really. And it's a tough fight. It's a very, very tough fight, especially for the first real boss in the game. Like, it does not hold back. It is, I don't actually know an effective method of fighting this thing. I'm gonna be completely honest. I kind of just jump at its head and wail at it with Swordmaster, and obviously I get heavily punished for doing this, but I don't know an effective method of fighting this thing. And yeah, it hits like a truck. This dog hits like a truck, and it punishes you every single slight slip up. If you stay by its paw for too long, it swipes at you. If you stay too far back, it charges at you. If you're hovering around its head too much, it also rams you and bites you, and it does all kinds of things. It also has a ranged ice attack. It can summon giant fucking ice from the ceiling. It's hard. It is a literal gatekeeper for Devil May Cry 3, and I almost quit playing it when I first played because of this boss, but I stuck with it because Devil May Cry 3 is such a good game. I'm working on a main channel video on Devil May Cry 3. This is a plug for my main channel right here. You should go subscribe to that. I currently have a video on Devil May Cry 1 and Devil May Cry 2. So the last game I want to talk about that has a pretty infamous filter point, at least in my eyes, is The Evil Within, and specifically Chapter 3. Now, Chapter 3 takes place in this enclosed village area that's kind of open. It kind of spices up the gameplay a bit, because up to this point it's been a very linear ordeal. Like, it is literally just a straight line with some enemies in the way and maybe an obstacle here and there. But Chapter 3 just turns that on its head and goes, you're in this fucked up zone. The only way to progress is killing this big ass chainsaw dude. Figure out how to do it, because you can't do it with just your revolver and the 5 bullets you probably have in there. So you need to skulk around this village, picking off enemies one by one, exploring every single room, every single crevice. And in this area you can find the shotgun and the agony crossbow. Both are completely randomized on where they are for each playthrough, spicing things up, making this chapter a pretty tense encounter no matter what playthrough it is. And when it comes to fighting the sadist at the end, the chainsaw guy, he does not hold back. He's like the chainsaw guy in Resident Evil 4. He can one-shot you if he gets too close, and he's fast. He's fast. Sebastian has the stamina of, well, an almost 40-year-old alcoholic smoker, so you don't really stand much chance against this thing unless you take advantage of the game's mechanics, like the agony crossbow, for example, which a lot of people who don't like the game don't seem to do. They usually just stick to the revolver and shotgun, but a lot of the tough moments can be negated with the agony crossbow. Flashbolts, you know, flashbolts exist. They make things easier. I'm just saying. saying. But yeah, a lot of people do quit here because even building up to the Sadist, the amount of haunted in the area that can fuck you up is pretty insane and also pretty daunting. So yeah, it's a tough area, and I know a lot of people who quit at this point, and if you're one of those people, please go back and beat it, because after this point, I feel like the game truly opens up and shows its colors. Like, shit gets weird after this point. Chapter 4 is odd, and spoiler alert, you get introduced to the best horror character in any game, Laura. She is horrifying. I hate her. She scares me. But you gotta get past chapter 3 to get there. It's like a rite of passage. It is a filter point, and you gotta be the one who doesn't get filtered out from playing the best game ever made. I hope you all enjoyed watching this video, and obviously, if you're familiar with this channel, this is the part where I plug Green Man Gaming. It's an incredible storefront, I highly recommend it. Obviously, you've heard me talk about it a lot, so I'm just gonna say, click the link below if you want to see some really good deals on some really good games that you can get on PC. That includes The Evil Within, or just any upcoming game. They do deals on upcoming games too, you know, like Pragmata. I'm gonna be covering that one very soon. I'm very excited for that, so yeah, click the link below if you want to check them out. And before I go, I just want to give a huge thank you to my Patreon supporters. That being Finn Trashboat, Nintendo Pro, Profit, Pitstab, Bouncer Storm Productions, and Daniel Levchenko. And a huge thank you to my channel members. That being Kindly Bacon 18, One Stundy Gaming 340. Don't know if I said that right. Clinton Lake T5C 6X, Wentel Swanky Pants 677, Adriel Low Young 8770, Mr. Salsa 2053, J Rash, Shake the Heavens, Imdisconcerted, NCR 8111, Courtney Williams DR9TB, Zello 007, On The Go Gaming 109, Eteria Sigma, Quack 29, Plates Fly 8362, Liam Talks About, Chowder 1326, Mashallah 4566, Marcus Platts, Joshua Whitford 5509, Evan Underhill 2342, Bidu Fadoom, Gabriel Padro 5589, Scary 1407, Eggy 613, Riff King 66, Andrea Stewart 8871, Galaxy 11243, Glosky 36, Floaty 38, The Slopped Hog Within, L Hayes 117, also known as Some Balding Guy Rambling Into the Void, Griefgar, and Resistance Lion. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope I can see you all in the next one.